Hi chaps, SimOP here for Beard, Biceps and Batchat. Today I'm bringing you a replay of my E5 on Mountain Pass. But before we get to the replay, there's been a lack of content this week. The reason behind that is we've had a bereavement in the family, and understandably it's taken away from World Tanks time. Hopefully we should be back up to our usual 3 or 4 videos a week starting from next week. Hopefully get 1 or 2 videos out this weekend, but hopefully we should be up and running again. So back to the replay. Now there's a couple of reasons I'm showing you this replay. The initial gameplay is nothing too crazy, nothing too exciting. It's the second half where it really gets ridiculous, and you really get to see the strengths of an E5 when it's put in a very cheeky position. So we're currently pushing down the 1-2 line. The reason being is this is a fairly mobile tank for a heavy tank, so I wanted to take advantage of that. I assumed I'd see these two Object 140s from UXP. And I was fairly confident they wouldn't do too much damage as long as I engaged them at a medium range. Obviously the sidearm on the E5 isn't great. So the position of my tank is I've got the front ever so slightly facing into the wall. The reason for that is just to create an auto bounce angle. Although frontally they're not going to really get through even my lower glacis unless they start throwing premium rounds around. There is a weak spot on the lower glacis, but it's not 100% guaranteed to penetrate as it is with other tanks. As we all know, the E5 is a very powerful tank. So I'm just waiting for this 140 to push up. I'm going to be quite aggressive here. We've spotted a lot of their team, and I can see the tanks on the red team that were pushed down the 1-2 line for them have ended up getting bogged down fighting in E4, E5 against our green chaps that have pushed over onto their ridge. So that means I can be quite aggressive here. There's not too much that's going to come around the corner and surprise me. I'm not going to come round to a massive amount of tanks because we already know they're bogged down. We know they've got their T57. He's doing the right thing. He's pulling back, trying to tempt us around the corner so he can throw 2 to 3 shells into us. First one tracking us, then just pile pain into us. So hopefully we're going to avoid that, I hope. Now if he isn't loading premium rounds, I should be okay. So do a little bit of side scraping, just be a little bit cautious because I don't want to eat 1600 burst damage into my lower glacis or into my sidearm if he catches at me at a really unfortunate angle. So we've got a couple of tanks advantage here. The guys who pushed over to their ridge really slowed down their deployment, which means we managed to take out the 2 140s, push on the 57 and gain a lot of ground. So this 57 is pretty much just about to get minced. There's not much he can do. I've taken a shot to the engine. They've got the Leopard 1 up there. Again, we're just going to use this rock as cover, just take the spot and damage, make a move, see if we can get a shot on the grill. He's pulled back sensibly behind the rock over there. We've got this little cheeky chap who's shown up. He's probably regretting it. So we're going to push on him, look to take him out, again just so he doesn't stall our advance. We should probably not be auto-aiming at this point, especially against an E5. Our gun's quite good, but it's still not 100% guaranteed to go through even the lower glacis of an E5. So thankfully someone else takes him out, so I'm not trading HP against an enemy that's a one-shot that I'd struggle to penetrate frontally. Now this is where it starts to get really fun. So the red team, there are a lot of tanks down. Now they've done the right thing. They haven't carried on pushing down the AB line. They've started doubling back to base to deal with us pushing through and then carry on their advance. Normally that's the absolute perfect thing to do. Really applaud players who can think tactically like that, rather than just pushing on, winning a flank, going to cap, pull back, get as much damage as possible, potentially turning a losing situation around and pick off the 2-3 tanks that are approaching their cap. So I get myself hold down. This is where it gets quite nasty. We've got the E4 there currently. We've got an OBJ to the 140 to the left that is making a nuisance of himself. He's using his gun depression all full 7 degrees. We've got the grill. We've got the waffle that's made an appearance. Now normally those tanks should be enough to push back and clear us out. So what I've decided to do is use myself to create a bit of a roadblock. So I've put myself hull down, They've got no shots on my lower glacis. The only thing they can see from their angle that they can shoot at for a weak spot on my tank is the commander's hatch. Now, the commander's hatch on this tank has been massively overbuffed. You can see all the shots flying in. I'm pretty much just taking track damage and not much else. So what I need to do here is to prioritise what I'm shooting at as they're presenting themselves. So 140, not a threat to me. E75, not a huge threat. That waffle, although he's been shooting shells, doing nothing to me, is a threat. The grill, that's a threat. I've got to put shots into him. The E4, he's got a lot of health, so I need to take his track out and hope the other guys on my team start flinging shots in him to take him out. He's fluffed his shot because he's panicked taking a hit. I've taken a big hit from, I think, the E75. We put one back into the grill. Now you'll notice I'm not actually killing tanks, and potentially you think that's a problem, and normally in normal situations it would be. But what I'm doing is whittling them down to the point where they are one hits. Then once they're one hits, they can't push around the corner to take a shot and eat a shot. They have to be a lot more careful. The only tank that still has the ability is the E75, which is coming down to one hit very quickly, and the E4. So it's at this point, this game's pretty much tied up. They've sort of come against me, hold down, and a couple of other guys behind me, and they just cannot push through. Potentially they should have tried to rush us, I don't know. But they were in a pretty bad situation, even though they were doing the exact right thing. We take the 140 out for the last kill, and we've walked away from that game, I imagine, with an absolutely crazy amount of block damage. Again, this is just highlighting how powerful the E5 is, especially when you use its characteristics to the best way possible, getting hold down, stolen enemy advances. As you can see from that game, we've done 3,500 physical damage, 1.5 assisted. Not great, not bad, but we've done almost 7,000 block damage, which is really, really good. And it really, I like to think, helped the team out there. Maybe not, it wasn't too close at that point. It was a fun game, nevertheless. I'd love to hear how you guys are getting on with the American Dream Machine up, how many points you guys have got so far. I've got about 400, I haven't played too much recently. I hope you are enjoying the content on the channels, guys. Please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time, chaps.